So whatever your decorative glass needs are, you don't have to look very far. Just call me. This is Stacy Sinks with Les's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Les's Glass. Les's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lesglassservice.com.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law offices. One call, that's all sports desk. The Bucks' winning streak comes to an end with a 127-117 loss to the LA Clippers Saturday night. They'll travel to Utah, taking on the Jazz Monday night. The NFL Conference Championship games today. In the NFC, the Eagles defeated the Commanders 55-23. The Bills are taking on the Chiefs right now in the second quarter. The Chiefs are leading 21-10. In Badgers college basketball, the men's team defeated Nebraska 83-55, and Wisconsin's women's team fell to Minnesota 71-50. Badger sports updates are sponsored by Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more. Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. All clear on the roads this evening. No major incidents, no delays. And time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, clear skies and breezy, a low of 18 degrees with a wind chill of 5 to 10 degrees. On Monday, windy with increasing clouds and scattered flurries. We'll see a wind advisory take effect from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's for Milwaukee, Kenosha, Racine, Ozaukee, Sheboygan, Walworth, and Waukesha counties. Monday, a high of 41 degrees. On Tuesday, breezy and mainly cloudy with some scattered flurries, a high of 41. Wednesday, windy, more scattered flurries, a high of 37. On Thursday, partly cloudy and windy, a high of 44. Friday, mostly cloudy, a high of 41. Right now in Madison, it's 24 degrees. In Green Bay, it's 28. In Waukesha, it's 20. And in Milwaukee, it's 25 degrees. I'm Jessica Gatso, Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 7:06.
This is The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
You cannot tell me, you cannot look me in the face and tell me that America is the greatest country in the world when you have people who cannot have access to quality health care for no reasons other than their insurance provider denied them.
$100 billion and somebody needs a $100,000 operation or treatment and you don't want to pay for the medicine. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's scary.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studio at the Avenue, here's Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
You are listening to The Truth Unfiltered. I am your co-host, Denise Thomas, the effective communication coach, joined by the Dr. Ken Harris, who you can also listen to live every afternoon from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on our sister station, 101.7 FM, The Truth. Good evening, Dr. Ken. How are you?
Well, good evening. How are you?
I'm great.
I'm
wonderful.
I'm at about 76%.
You're about 76%?
Right.
Okay. How do we get it to
by 9 o'clock? I'll
90?
be at 100.
Okay. All right.
And then I'll be off the air and nobody to talk to.
Say it again.
And by 9 o'clock, I'll be 100% with nobody to talk to.
It's okay. You know what? Talk to yourself. As long as you don't answer back,
okay,
you're okay, Dr. Ken.
Okay, thank you.
And shout out to all of our viewers and listeners. We've got folks watching us now. We are streaming live, TMJ. We are streaming live on our 620 WTMJ channels on both X, formerly known as Twitter, as well as YouTube. And you can stream and listen and watch Dr. Ken and I right now. I've got on something really, really sexy and attractive. So go right now so you can see me look really, really sexy and attractive.
Notice she said that about herself, not me.
Well, that wouldn't be. and to also add to my sexiness.
And then that dude.
Then you can watch the handsome, distinguished gentleman, Dr. Ken Harris, as well.
That dude.
How about that, Dr. Ken?
I appreciate that.
So let's get into it, because we already have like 6 minutes before our next break. Side note, y'all, dear TMJ and Truth valued listeners, y'all know, if you know me, I love to talk, and I could really talk for like until midnight. But there's these things that we have called partnerships, and so we have breaks. So let me just level set how our truth this evening, well, let me say my truth will be unfiltered this evening. We're going to talk about, dun-da-da, was DE&I ever alive? I mean, everybody's like, DE&I is dead. DE&I is ending. And for those that are not familiar, DE&I stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And over the past week, a number of major corporations / employers / CPGs, consumer packaged good companies, have eliminated, or maybe to be more softer, Dr. Ken, they've rolled back their DE&I initiatives for a variety of reasons. But at the end of the day, and I'm speaking from the lens, Dr. Ken, of a black woman who has been a black woman for 48.5 years. Did DE&I, did it really die? I mean, after all the years of fighting, literally, for equal rights, for equal access, not to be judged, in the words of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. When you see headlines that say that Target and Walmart are joining other companies like the big three tech companies, Amazon, Google, Facebook, X, do you as a black man, and remember, this is unfiltered, Dr. Ken, do you really feel the impact? Do you really feel that DE&I saved you as part of your professional trajectory? And thirdly, are you sleepless at night reading these headlines? Now, I'm going to be quiet because I definitely want to hear your thoughts, and I want it to be truly unfiltered. And then I'm going to give you my thoughts when we come back from our first break.
All right. 855-616-1620 is the Citing Unlimited WTMJ talk and text line. Of course, you're listening to us on Monday night, so 833-212-1017. I guess we got to use both now. We're on 1017 The Truth and 620 WTMJ. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. She is Denise Thomas, the effective communication coach. Hey, are we on X as well?
We are. I'm watching it.
We're
everywhere.
Over the place. You're listening to The Truth Unfiltered. We'll be right back.
Wisconsin winters are unpredictable.
This is history. Never had a tornado touchdown in February.
We keep you updated on blizzards.
Winter storm warning has been issued for all of southeast Wisconsin, and it's going to get really, really dicey.
Blackouts.
Tens of thousands of customers across southeast Wisconsin are without power this morning.
Icy roads.
Very, very slick conditions pretty much everywhere.
And more. With WTMJ Fleet Farm Storm Team alerts on air and at WTMJ.com.
With the ability to market luxury homes on a higher scale than ever before, Century 21 Benefit Realty has taken a huge step forward to tap into a global network of buyers. Maximum exposure to spotlight your unique home with our fine homes and estates marketing so you can sell it for the highest price. And with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission, you win. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
If you're living with joint pain in your shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees, and you have Medicare or Medicaid insurance, coming to Rejuvenex to solve your pain problems is something you should strongly consider. First off, because our FDA-approved pain treatments have been shown in many cases to be highly effective at reducing inflammation and substantially alleviating pain. Secondly, Medicare and Medicaid cover Rejuvenex treatments, so your cost could be nothing, or next to nothing at all. Chronic pain will only worsen with age. This leads to a far more compromised lifestyle, depression, and soon they start talking surgery. And then what? You have to get in front of arthritis and chronic pain, because the sooner you do, by letting us begin to calm those pain points, the better. I'm Rejuvenex founder Richard Salinas, and we can alleviate your pain so you can rejuvenate your life. Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Welcome back to The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
You're listening to The Truth Unfiltered, 101.7 The Truth and 620 WTMJ. Before the break, we were discussing, and I guess you asked the question. I guess that is a bit unfiltered. Is DEI dead? But I think you had something to add to that. And
well, the question was it ever alive?
Yeah, it's
look at. And I'm laughing, Dr. Ken, because there has been so much uproar to the point where I've seen and heard. And again, this is the truth segment, so I'm speaking from a Black perspective for our audience, that to me are responding as if the World Health Organization announced that Armageddon is coming. I'm serious. Like, I literally, and I don't want to discount the impact for many. With that being said, though, did we really benefit or have a significant setback? Because quite frankly, Dr. Ken, DE&I started diminishing, and I'm not going to say this until you give me your permission, so I'll say it this way since this is unfiltered. There was a certain person who I work with that during the amplified focus due to being quarantined in our homes, there was a certain person that I work with that said, Denise, this DE&I agenda and publicity, it will die. It will fade out in about 2 or 3 years. Now, I'm not going to say who said this to me unless he wants me to, and he gives me the authorization. His name rhymes with Mokhtar Ben. I'll just leave it at that.
Mokhtar Ben Ferris? That was me.
I didn't say the source, but obviously he knew what he was talking about because this person literally
arrows flashing and lights going. It's him.
This person.
Yes, I did.
I'm not making this up. Pulled me to the side about 2 or 3 years ago. And said, Denise, because I was like, man, my business is thriving, boy. We making all kind of money, boy. These companies can't get enough of D&I. And Dr. Ken was like, plan accordingly.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Dr.
Ben Ferris. It was me. I admit it.
I'm listening.
So
how are you feeling about this, Dr. Ken? Unfiltered. How are you feeling about the uproar, the response? People are saying, let's boycott Target, Walmart,
right?
All these, how do you feel? Is your life going to be changed based on these companies that have publicly announced they are rolling back or basically making their DE&I initiatives obsolete?
I believe, because I've been alive long enough to remember when we didn't have DEI, that one of the things we missed with DEI is, well, first of all, in my estimation, it was a emotional response to something that happened in Minnesota. And so instead of giving me the resources that would cause me to or cause the instance to create equity, we just kind of gave it to you. And so what happens when you give your kids something and they don't earn it or they don't really need it, but you give it to them anyway because they feel good? Eventually, they're going to either get tired of it or you're going to get tired of doling it out because there was no end to it. Like, DEI is great, but to what point? Like, to what extent are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I know you're doing it because you feel emotional and all that, and then you want to be our, what was the word they always used? You want to help us out and all this, but you're only helping us in the way you think we need help. You're not helping us in the way that we actually need help with resources, the ability to be on our own feet and build our own businesses and build our own. You just gave us access to yours, but you never really gave us anything new. You never really gave us anything that we could take, build, and become self-sufficient. And eventually, people what? They go, we did that long enough. Let's go back to the way that benefits me. And so that's what they did. So when I saw that, I went, yeah, I've seen this pop up every now and then, and it kind of died because it's unsustainable. And so when you only gave us money out of a certain pot, that's one of the reasons why Byron Allen is suing McDonald's. Because now in most large companies' brain, when they think DEI, they say, I know what we can do. We can get a lot of points and everybody will love us. So we'll carve out some money and put it in a pot for them. Well, that's great. But the problem was the pot was significantly smaller. So using numbers I don't know offhand, but using an example, I may have a $50 million marketing budget, but I only have $1 million for DEI. So I could say I did something, but there was no real significance. You didn't get any resources. You didn't get the ability to be with everybody else. So because I only have $1 million and it's like 500 black businesses, I'm going to just divide it by them. Why can't I come in and compete with everybody else and get part of the other 49 million? Well, right? And so you're spending tens of millions of dollars in predominantly white areas, and you're only spending like one with black. And so it got to the point where people said, well, inflation is here and we can boost our bottom line, but how do you boost your bottom line? Like, you're literally getting nothing back for DEI, you're only giving. Let me just say this. And so now they just took the money back.
Let me just say this, Dr. Ken, and you bring up a great point because, well, first, let me add to one of your great points. 4 years after launching and we'll call it a push for more diversity in its ranks, McDonald's, yes, to all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, said earlier this month that it is ending, and I'm quoting, some of its diversity practices. Within this announcement, they cited a U.S. Supreme Court decision that outlawed affirmative action in college admissions. So let me just build off of that. Number one, DE&I was never a federally regulated program, nor was it part of legislation. This was something that, and again, it varies across different employers, whether they felt it was an extracurricular activity, whether they felt that it was something that was going to drive the business. For whatever reasons that vary across different organizations, both public and private, D&I was never a law. It was never a federal regulated program. Now, affirmative action, that's a different story.
Correct.
Because that was something that was a practice that was, again, part of the legislative and ultimately judicial process, i.e. the Supreme Court.
And Civil Rights
Which
Act.
now,
Correct.
Yes, which have now, the U.S. Supreme Court has now outlawed affirmative action in college admissions. Basically, and I'm giving y'all my public school third grade version here. We cannot allow or force companies or employers to hire people based on their identity. We cannot allow employers to focus on hiring people based on their identity, regardless of whether they're white, black, Asian, Hispanic, straight, gay, transgender, binary, whatever your identity is. The Supreme Court has said that can no longer be a factor in college admissions, and indirectly, companies are now saying we can't use DE&I as a program for hiring, training, and selecting employees. Okay, so I want to make sure that we first understand the distinction. Now, again, the Supreme Court in July of 2023 ruled that affirmative action cannot be a part of college admissions. As soon as that happened, and I'm going to tell you, Dr. Kim, the reason why I know is because as soon as that happened, without listening to you, which I usually do, and now I really will, despite your advice to me, my business tanked. When did it tank? Dr. Ken, I'm so glad you asked. It tanked, and I'm a black woman who's been an independent business owner going into my 8th year, okay? My business tanked, and I'm not making this up. You want access to my accounting? Good luck, but I'm telling you right now. According to QuickBooks.
We'll take your word for it.
Thank you. According to QuickBooks, my business tanked in terms of double-digit decrease in revenue in July of 2023.
Yep. But let me add one little thing, one little caveat.
Okay.
They didn't outlaw affirmative action. They outlawed the individual counting. So quotas are illegal. So what colleges did is under affirmative action, they started counting. Okay, well, we need let's get 15% black. Just throwing out numbers. Let's get 2% Asian. Let's get 6% Hispanic. And you can't do that. Affirmative action says it's outreach and remedial measures. We're going to make sure everything is equal, and then everybody is met the same measure. They used to say, well, you're a black female and you're in your 40s. Well, no, you have to do more. No, we can't do that anymore. But that's how they used to do us, right? Poll tax and all that stuff.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Let me be clear, because my business was able to go back into sustainability mode and then ultimately into profitability mode simply because I focused on one thing and one thing only. And this had nothing to do with me being and I'll use the household terms, small business owner,
right,
minority business owner, woman business owner, black business owner. I did not use any of these. And these are not feelings. These are facts, okay?
Right.
I went back to the lab and I said, okay, I know the service that my business provides is relevant and it's relatable and it can help anyone who is receptive to communication coaching. Are you with me, Dr. Ken?
Yep.
I had to go back to the lab and just like literally rebuild and say, okay, who am I and who is this company?
Find that niche that reflects who you are and what you do.
Then I literally, and I'm giving y'all like some unfiltered truth here.
No, you giving a business lesson of what you're giving.
I go back to my team and I say, okay, look, we are a for-profit business. And we in particular prefer to partner with other for-profit individuals and or businesses. And so with that being said, we're going to need to rebrand and repurpose, but we never, and I want to be clear, Dr. Ken, we never stopped doing what we were doing from day one.
Right.
But we had to make sure that we were no longer prioritizing DE&I as our primary revenue generator, because like you said, here today, gone tomorrow. Now, also, and then I'll be quiet because I know we've been talking for a while. Let me just close out with this before we go to our next break. I want to be clear, because I'm still black and I'm still a woman and I still have a business, and I have to make sure again that I'm relevant and relatable to all existing or potential clients. I do not discount that discrimination and racism and sexism and ageism still exist. And those are things that I have to accept, Dr. Ken.
Yep.
But what I can change and what I can influence is anytime I partner with a predominantly white organization, which is pretty much 85 to 90%
right.
of my business in terms of sales. I'm look, this is Unfiltered. There's no need of us, let's break it down. I have yet to hear someone say to me, after I deliver, after I provide the deliverables, I have yet to hear someone say, oh man, I'm glad we checked that box and hired that black woman-owned business. This is what I hear. I hear, thank you for being easy to work with. Thank you for exceeding our expectations. Thank you for making people feel connected. Thank you for helping us get some, I was going to say a bad word, some stuff done. And that, Dr. Ken, is something that I'm consistently practicing, whether I wake up tomorrow green or whether I wake up tomorrow black or whether I wake up tomorrow with one eye. And I just want to encourage people that are taking this news.
Yeah, but a patch would be pretty cool. A patch would be. I'm just saying.
I just want to encourage our listeners, however you identify, you cannot allow this agenda to distract you from being great. Because at the end of the day, businesses want to grow. And if your product and or service can ultimately help that business grow in profitability, talent, retention, whatever the case may be, focus on that.
Now
on that.
Now, you're saying something that's ruffling some feathers. You know that.
That's my gift.
You know
that's what I'm supposed to do.
Okay. But
that's what I'm supposed to do, Dr. Ken.
But you're telling me the truth a little. Well, you're a little unfiltered.
Okay, you want me to do this? There comes a time when we heed a certain. You want me to do the We Are the World, We Are the Children, like be cute and nice and politically correct? Because I can do that too.
Right. But the problem is that doesn't make money.
Exactly.
Like DEI proved, that doesn't make money. And if it doesn't generate a return, like we forgot we're in a capitalist country, and that the smallest business to the largest business can make hundreds of thousands and hundreds of millions and hundreds of billions. Like we got what, 3 or 4 $3 trillion companies that we said it would never be done in our lifetime. It's there. We just have to recognize, and when we come from back from the break, we'll talk about it. How do you now become the best that you can be?
Love it.
Citing Unlimited, WTMJ Talk and Text line is 855-616-1620. She's Denise Thomas. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. You're listening to Truth Unfiltered.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away, so the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Healthy joints, healthy lifestyle. Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Arthritis, injuries, wear and tear, common joint issues that keep you from doing what you love. At OAW, a visit to the doctor doesn't always mean surgery. Everyone is different. Surgeons, nurses, physical therapists work together to come up with a plan for you. Maybe it's PT, medication, injection, and if you do need surgery like I did, you know you're in the best of hands. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference. Book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
Just like most cars and trucks can't run without oil, no person can function without food. That's why through March 1st, the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee is contributing $1 from every oil change to Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 14 years, Adam has provided more than 2.6 million meals to people in Southeast Wisconsin. And now the need is greater than ever. Find a participating Adam dealer near you at adamm.com.
This is The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
You are listening to The Truth Unfiltered. I beat you to it, Dr. Ken. You are listening to The Truth Unfiltered. I am your co-host, Denise Thomas, the effective communication coach, alongside with the intellectual prophetic. If you're just joining in, I gave y'all a real example of his prophecy skills.
Yeah.
Dr. Ken, and he has given me permission. I'm telling y'all, Dr. Ken called it. Whether you like Dr. Ken or not. And I've worked with Dr. Ken now going in year 6. We started doing this in, no, wait a minute. No, was it 2020? 2020?
Well,
2019?
I mean, we've known each other for a couple decades, but still.
Yeah. So he and I have a healthy relationship. I learn a lot from Dr. Ken.
And she hollers at me a lot, so then there's that.
I holler at everybody. That's just part of DT.
That is true.
So
that is true.
If I don't holler at you, then I probably don't like you.
And you probably don't care either.
So I was going to say that too. You're in my head.
The movie I was talking about, see, we got to quit finishing each other's thoughts. The movie I was talking about was White Man's Burden. In an alternative America where African American and white Americans have reversed cultural roles, a white factory worker kidnaps a black factory owner. And, you know, those kind of things when you're upset and you're mad and you want discrimination to end and all that. And so it was a great movie, Harry Belafonte. It was a phenomenal movie. Because under those circumstances and under those conditions, it brings out the same emotion in everybody. And so I think while people may favor diversity, equity, and inclusion, you at least need to empathize, or not, but you need to empathize the fact that other people can be in a position to feel the same thing you feel. And that was an emotional, we're dealing with an emotional response of perceived loss if we continue down this road.
Now, if you're just tuning in, great point, Dr. Ken. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
DE&I, diversity, equity, inclusion policies that over the past week, companies, employers like Target, Meta, which is the owner of Facebook, Instagram, Amazon. No, for real, Dr. Ken, listen to this list. Because I'm gonna be unfiltered.
All right.
When black people, I'm speaking about my community. When black people say we are boycotting, let me just go through the list of what we're proclaiming to boycott. Okay? Let's start. Because what kills me is that a lot of the black people, including the younger generation that have the utmost dependency on social media, are saying boycott Target, boycott Meta platforms, which includes Instagram and Facebook.
Right.
Okay? Stay with me, Dr. Ken. This is Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm trying to understand all my aunties and uncles and cousins that literally say, I have a problem. What's your problem? I order Amazon every day. Okay, let's keep going. McDonald's, Walmart,
Target,
Ford,
yep.
Ford Motor Company,
Yep.
Lowe's, Harley Davidson, based here in Milwaukee, Brown-Forman, who's the parent company of Jack Daniels, John Deere, the farm equipment maker.
Whiskey? Girl. Bourbon? Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Tractor Supply. All of these companies have either rolled back or eliminated their DE&I policies or initiatives. Now, let me just, with that list, clarify what that means. So DE&I policies, programs, initiatives were originally orchestrated as a counterweight to discriminatory practices. Okay, so a lot of the critics were arguing that education, government, and business programs would single out participants based on race, gender, and sexual orientation are unfair, and the same opportunities should be afforded to everyone. Now, here's what's interesting, Dr. Ken. This sounds exactly like the narrative of Black people and women during the civil rights movement in the late 50s through the mid 60s, right before President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act.
Mm-hmm.
Exact same thing. Fast forward, white people, and in particular straight white men, are saying, hey, wait a minute. This is getting out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
I am worried about my power, my ability to thrive in my company, because what I'm hearing through D&I is that you are creating metrics that are focusing on groups that are not part of my identity. Therefore, I feel like I'm getting pushed out. Therefore, if I am not able to have money, I do not have power, and that is not what I signed up for. So I think we need to take a step back and remind ourselves that these companies that have scaled back or just completely abolished diversity and equity inclusion initiatives, this came as a result of the protest when George Floyd was murdered in Minneapolis, and it's no longer allegedly because they were found guilty of killing George Floyd in 2020. Right. This was a reaction. This was something that companies were like, hey, everybody's watching. We've got to do something. Yep. But let me be clear. Racism, sexism, ageism, homophobism, if that's a real ism. Can you say homophobism? Is that a real ism?
No.
Okay. Those that are homophobic are, and will continue to be racist, sexist, homophobic, or however you want to call it. And so what I'm saying to you is this as part of my unfiltered truth. When you are reacting with, I'm going to boycott Target, Walmart, Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, which is your prerogative, my mindset is everything that occurred in this country prior to George Floyd's murder, prior to DE&I initiatives, it happened because at the end of the day, CEOs will, first of all, do whatever they want to do. And secondly, if this is not something that's going to impact the dollar, their business growth, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And so, again, as far as I'm concerned, I'm focusing on partnering with people and organizations that include me, that appreciate my business. I don't need you, and I'm serious, I don't need you to say you stand in solidarity with the Black community after an innocent Black man has been murdered. I don't need you to say Black Lives Matter. I really don't. But what I do need you is to make sure that the same people that are patronizing your businesses, i.e. Instagram, i.e. Facebook, Amazon, McDonald's, Walmart, Target, Ford, the list goes on and on. I need you to make sure that you've got people that look like me in the boardroom. I need you to make sure that you're hiring leaders, because what then happens is you end up getting a civil rights lawsuit because you don't have representation and you have somebody putting a monkey on a t-shirt, which culturally black people find offensive. So again, I don't need programs. I don't need statements. I appreciate them when they're made, but it's not a necessity to my well-being. What I need, again, Dr. Kennan, I'll be quiet. What I need is this country to remind ourselves that the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the laws promise me that no matter what, unless I break a law, unless I infringe upon someone's civil rights, like walking up to some stranger and knocking them up beside the head, I should be qualified, or I should be regarded based on my qualifications for any room, any position, any seat that I deserve, not simply because I check 2 boxes and that's black and female. That's what I'm saying.
And one of the things people need to understand with affirmative action before we go to break is that it focuses on remedying historic injustices through preferential treatment mandated by law. But that preferential treatment is an equalizer, not a preference. And so people should understand, and I hate the fact that they use that word preference, but people need to understand that if you correct historic injustices, then that company will then change their practices and change their policies that caused us not to be present anyway. But the easy way around it is DEI, because I don't have to change anything. I can just plug you in and call it a day. I can put you in a dead-end job and just kind of have you sit there, but then I'm going to count you. Oh, look, I checked the box. And that's unfortunate. And so I think somewhere in this, we're going to have to work through to see exactly how we're going to figure out how to make this work. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ Talking Text line is 855-616-1620. When we come back, Talking Text line, we've got some interesting comments and a few replies that we're going to let Denise dive into. You're listening to Truth Unfiltered on TMJ.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio. I'm reaching out with a message that's close to my heart. Devastating fires have ravaged the Los Angeles area, leaving families displaced, homes destroyed, and the community in need of help. Right now, you have the power to make a real difference. Your donation, big or small, can provide food, shelter, supplies, and much-needed support for those affected by the fires. If you are able to, please help those affected by the California wildfires and donate at www.lafoodbank.org/fire.
With the help of Less's Glass, you can have the shower you've always wanted. Heavy glass shower enclosures from Less's Glass are installed by the best in the business. And when you have a showroom to visit with over a dozen glass shower enclosures on display, there's no guessing games. See the ultimate in frameless shower design with doors mounted on smooth as silk, stainless steel barn-style rollers. This design combines the beauty and elegance of heavy glass with a minimalist look to create an ideal shower enclosure for tight spaces. Premium shower doors and custom-designed all-glass enclosures. When you work with Less's Glass, you're working with a company that really can do it all. This is Stacy Sinks with Less's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
You're listening to The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
What is it you want to do when you grow up? Hey, yo, I'm going to be a
Target.
Victory is mine. Yeah,
Most people love Target. Target is one of the most recent companies that has publicly shared they will be rolling back their DE&I initiatives. Now, Target employee base has grown more diverse in recent years. About 43% of Target's workforce was white, 31% was Hispanic Latino, 15% was Black, and 5% was Asian in the fiscal year that ended in early February of last year, according to the company's most recent diversity report. The company's leadership team is less diverse than its overall workforce. 72% of the leadership was white, followed by 11% Hispanic Latino, 11% Asian, and 6% Black. Now, these numbers can be interpreted different ways, Dr. Ken. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you my unfiltered truth.
Okay.
Now, a lot of these numbers scream to people, some people, not all people, that Target is not hiring enough people of color. You ready for me to ruffle some feathers?
Go right ahead.
We got all kind of people talking about, oh my gosh, they're going to ban TikTok. I make so much money off of TikTok. You make so much money making commercials. That's what that is. That's not work. You make a lot of money making 60-second or less commercials. That is not work. Yeah, I said it. And while we're focusing our time and energy on TikTok, which is a social media platform that many, again, claim that if TikTok is banned, I'm not going to be able to feed my kids. And then when you see numbers where it says companies' leadership teams across big employers such as Target are talking about, 6% Black in leadership, 15% Black in the overall workforce. That to me screams we have a deficit in terms of how we are preparing our future leaders, our kids, the next generation of leadership to be ready. Because being in a highly visible business critical role, it takes work. It takes education. It takes acumen. It takes commitment consistently. You can't rely on a platform to make money that only requires you to make 60 seconds of content. That should be a marketing tool. But if you're saying that I can't exist without TikTok, and then you wonder why major companies don't have enough of us in the boardroom, it also has to do with talent. It also has to do with readiness. It also has to do with qualified. And if I look at the numbers, there is a deficit. We are losing in this country qualified doctors, engineers, lawyers, people that work in trade, which, by the way, Dr. Ken and I on a previous episode talked about the opportunities in cybersecurity.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Yep. Very, very lucrative.
And don't believe the hype. Go get a degree.
So, you know, I'm also saying, like, we cannot, as people of color and women and members of traditionally marginalized groups, take this as, oh, these companies don't want us. I'm not saying there is not a degree of discrimination within these numbers. With that being said, though, there is also a deficit of talent. There is a shortage of people who actually want to work to go up the ladder and become senior leaders or C-suite leaders. I can't tell you how many executive friends that I have, like Dr. Ken, and I know you have the same thing, executive friends that are decision makers that are Black, yep, that say we are struggling trying to find people who want to work that look like us.
Of all races, really.
Yes. And so, again, I'm going to, my truth unfiltered is that as much as this is an alarm for a lot of people, this should also be a wake-up call. Because before D&I, there are just some things that, as people of color, we're going to have to wake up and understand. Like, either we are going to, as the leaders of the civil rights movement in Montgomery, Alabama, see, boycott is not going on social media and saying, I'm not going to shop here anymore. Or this is what I'm seeing, Dr. See, I told you, I'm going to ruffle some feathers. Ooh. Boycotting is not going on social media and posting a video of Target and saying, y'all see this? Look at this, girl. That's not boycotting. Boycotting is what Al Sharpton, Reverend Al Sharpton, and his network, they're actually walking in the streets and visibly walking into a Costco and saying we are not supporting Target, and they're spending their dollars. We got to get, like, here's the thing. Bottom line is that if you truly are going to tell me to stop shopping somewhere, that means literally by tomorrow morning, Target should be saying, okay, wait a minute. Although we got rid of D&I, we still need the black dollar. Because, by the way, black people, we spend more money than any other demographic in this country. That's a fact. That is a fact. You know why?
Absolutely. Yep.
Do you know why, Dr. Ken?
Why is
because other races, they shop where? In their community.
Yep. And we don't have anything in our community.
So therefore, if you're going to tell me to boycott Target, Walmart, and all these other places, then give me a link to a relative black-owned business, or tell me what you do so that I can partner with you. But all this, just boycott. And then also, but don't take away TikTok, because I still need to be able to make my 60-second commercials and make $60,000 a week. You can't have both. And we as a community, we have to get back into what makes us qualified. There are a number of highly educated black people who, yes, are hired and are discriminated against once they get in the role. Okay, well, then that means that you stop completely shopping there, supporting that organization. But all this, come on, like, did we really think? I mean, the Electoral College map reminded me. The Kool-Aid man, the red map. Why are we acting surprised? Why are we acting shocked? And why are we now saying, what are we going to do? It's like dating a narcissist. And then you take that narcissist back and you're like, I can't, you promised you would be different. What happened? Honey, that person was the same person when you broke up the previous 5 times. Donald Trump told you who he was. He showed you who he was from day one. You cannot be mad at him.
Yep.
So I'm going to get off my soapbox. But my thing is this, whether DE&I was alive or dead, I want and I hope that we as human beings get back to really understanding what discrimination looks and feels like, what positioning ourselves for success looks like. And number 3, getting back to not allowing agendas to be a distraction and get our education. Work harder. Yep. Work more. Yep. Don't allow social media to be the only generator of revenue that you have. My goodness. TikTok? 60 seconds, Dr. Ken.
Yep.
Come on. What are we doing here?
Well, that's hour 1. We'll be back shortly. We're going to eventually get to the talk and text line, because this is the Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas. Dr. Ken is this. I think I'm in listening mode tonight. So, and I think that's a great thing. Sometimes we need to hear points of view from the eyes and the experience of people who have lived it. And that's what you're getting tonight. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're listening to Truth Unfiltered. Denise Thomas, Dr. Ken Harris, Citing Unlimited WTMJ talk and text line is 855-616-120. Hit us there.
Winning in the NFL comes down to the basics, blocking and tackling. In retirement, protection and income are the keys to success. Simply put, if you're nearing or in retirement, you can't afford a stock market crash. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons. Having played on winning teams with the Steelers and Falcons, studying game film was a key to success. Now I'm a best-selling author and star in a new groundbreaking documentary film called The Retirement Deception. It unveils how the Wall Street machine has been deceiving us for decades and proves you don't need to risk your nest egg in the market to have the retirement you deserve. This film shows you exactly how to protect your retirement from stock market drops and produce more income than you thought possible. I want you to watch this film for free. Call today for your free copy of The Retirement Deception. I think you would agree 30 to 40 years of saving for retirement is at least worth a phone call to watch this film and see how you can improve your retirement. Call today to speak with an all-pro retirement specialist to get your free copy of The Retirement Deception. Call 844-763-2837. That's 844-763-2837. MitchLyonsWealth.com. Your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source in news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 8 o'clock, it's 25 degrees. Tonight, clear and breezy, a low of 18 with a wind chill of 5 to 10 degrees. Monday, windy with increasing clouds and scattered flurries. We'll have a wind advisory from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday for Milwaukee, Kenosha, Racine, Ozaukee, Sheboygan, Walworth, and Waukesha counties. Monday, a high of 41 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Jessica Gatso. President Trump announcing he was slapping a 25% tariff on all imports from Colombia. ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang has the story.
President Donald Trump retaliating against Colombian President Gustavo Petro with a blitz of tariffs and sanctions after he says the country refused to accept 2 U.S. military planes carrying recently deported migrants. Trump announcing the U.S. will impose 25% tariffs on all Colombian imports, threatening to raise them to 50% in a week, a move that could raise consumer costs for the billions of dollars worth of goods that the U.S. imports from Colombia each year.
The move in retaliation for Colombia's decision to block 2 U.S. Air Force deportation flights from landing. The White House announcing the extension of a ceasefire with Lebanon and Israel until February 18th. At least 22 people were killed by Israeli forces and more than 120 others were injured in southern Lebanon today. Those same troops were scheduled to withdraw from the region today as part of the original 60-day agreement between Lebanon and Israel. A 64-year-old is dead after a shooting in Milwaukee overnight. It happened around 1:45 a.m. near the corner of 89th Street and Mill Road. The man died at the scene. Milwaukee police are still searching for unknown suspects. Thank you very much. That message from the family of Bob Uecker as he was laid to rest in a private ceremony Friday. The family thanking fans for allowing them to mourn privately and for the heartfelt messages and memorials created at his statue at American Family Field. They're working with the Brewers for a public celebration of life to come this summer. Uecker died January 16th at the age of 90 after a battle with small cell lung cancer. He would have turned 91 today. Those tropical vacation deals this winter might be too good to be true. Consumer expert Michelle Reinen with Wisconsin's Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection tells WTMJ how to catch a travel scam.
Well, we want people to perform an internet search for the property's name and address before you book. Try combining it with words like review, complaint, scam, and see if there's anything concerning that comes up. And then do not move your conversation off the platform where it started.
Reinen says being asked to move a conversation to private chats on social media is one key sign of a scam. Another of Milwaukee's finest chefs is a semifinalist for a coveted James Beard Award.
It's the 4th such nomination for Amalinda owner and chef Gregory Leone.
I like to explain him as the Oscars or the Grammys of the food world.
Leone, a semifinalist in the Outstanding Chef category, tells Wisconsin's Midday News his nominations are a reflection of the outstanding food scene in Milwaukee.
I think for the size of Milwaukee, we have so many amazing and talented people here cooking. And there's people who appreciate good food.
Leon is one of 8 Wisconsin chefs named to the semifinalist list. Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
Sports traffic and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 8:03.
Monica, we've got to hand it to you.
You and the design team have outdone yourselves.
Are you talking about the One collection?
Those rings say you are the one.
And they say it symbolically.
Describe the symbols.
Every ring in the One collection should be presented with a special ritual.
What would that ritual be?
You pick up her left hand and you place a kiss on her ring finger.
Rick, you never told me about that part.
Then you show her the tiny red diamond, flush mounted inside the ring, that will forever be in contact with her finger.
Why is it red?
Because that's when the giver says to the one, wherever you go, my heart goes with you.
I give you this kiss. I give you my heart.
The red diamond is a secret symbol of that sacred moment.
The center diamond on the outside of the ring is for the whole world to see.
But the tiny red created diamond inside the ring is only for the two of them.
The One collection of engagement rings is available exclusively at Kessler's.
To find the Kesslers nearest you,
visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Save big on your next project right now at Menards. Get cleaner clothes and softer skin with Morton Water Softeners. Morton's Wi-Fi integration allows for tracking and alerts, which puts you in control of your water while at home or away. Morton's Look Ahead technology learns and predicts your water needs, saving you money. Save big on Morton Water Softeners. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Bucks' winning streak comes to an end. A 127-117 loss to the LA Clippers Saturday night. Next up, they travel to Utah, taking on the Jazz Monday night. The NFL Conference Championship games today in the NFC. The Eagles defeated the Commanders 55-23. The Bills are taking on the Chiefs. Right now, it's a close game. In the end of the third quarter, Bills are leading 22-21. Taking a look at the roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Not much going on the roads this evening. No major incidents, no delays. Time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, clear skies, breezy, a low of 18 degrees with a wind chill of 5 to 10 degrees. Monday, windy with increasing clouds and scattered flurries. We've got that wind advisory from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. for Milwaukee, Kenosha, Racine, Ozaukee, Sheboygan, Walworth, and Waukesha counties, a high of 41. On Tuesday, breezy and mainly cloudy, scattered flurries, a high of 41. Wednesday, windy with more scattered flurries, a high of 37. On Thursday, partly cloudy skies and windy, a high of 44. On Friday, mostly cloudy, a high of 41. Right now in Madison, it's 23 degrees. In Green Bay, it's 28. In Waukesha, it's 21. And in Milwaukee, it's 25 degrees. I'm Jessica Gatso, Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 8:07.
This is The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
You cannot tell me, you cannot look me in the face and tell me that America is the greatest country in the world when you have people who cannot have access to quality health care for no reasons other than their insurance provider denied them.
$100 billion and somebody needs a $100,000 operation or treatment and you don't want to pay for the medicine. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's scary.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studio at the Avenue, here's Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
You're listening to Truth Unfiltered. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris, along with Denise Thomas, the effective communication coach. If you want to check out all the things that she does, just check out realcomcoach.com.
Thank you, sir.
All the things she can do, and she can help your company become great.
I have to be very, very grateful. I'm going to have a gratitude moment, Dr. Ken. Business is doing really well. And here's the crazy part. Contrary to popular belief, all types of humans, white, black, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, straight, gay, non-denominational, spiritual, all types of humans patronize our firm. And I want to be clear. I'm not trying to paint a picture that isms do not exist. I am just trying to remind people that you cannot allow agendas to deter you from winning in life. There are things that we are going to have to accept. However, with that said, Dr. Ken, there are things that we can also change and influence. And the more that I am open to having dialogue with people who do not look like me, the more that I am open to collaborating with people who are different from me. See, diversity is simply one thing. It's difference. That's all it is. And it could be difference in perspective, difference in experience. You and I are very diverse. Very diverse.
From each other.
From each other. Very diverse. Yeah. And I appreciate that. Because here's the thing. This is what society, let me not even say society. I'm just going to give a real example.
Come on, be unfiltered.
This is my Unfiltered. You and Dr. Ken don't like each other. What are you basing that on?
The way y'all
just
argue.
Stay with me, Dr. Ken, because y'all disagree. You fight on air. So because we disagree,
right?
That is the factor that determines that we don't like each other.
Correct.
I was a guest on Sherwin Hughes, who is also a fellow colleague on our sister station, The Truth, 101.7 FM. What's up, Truth Nation? I know y'all listening.
What up?
And Sherwin asked me, because this was after, I stepped away from the morning show on The Truth, and he asked me, how am I doing? I heard you and Dr. Ken have this new show. Why did you ultimately leave the morning show? And I said, well, there are a variety of reasons, but mainly I want to make sure that the listeners and the viewers of Good Karma brand stations, whether that's ESPN, TMJ, The Truth, receive quality talk radio. They are informed, they are entertained, they are inspired. Those are always my main objectives.
Yep.
When I have the privilege, and it is a privilege to be on TMJ as well as The Truth. That is an honor because I have a platform where I can speak and people listen, whether they agree with me or not. So ultimately, the reason why I chose to step away from the morning show is because I cannot work in environments where mediocrity is normalized. And we are becoming a society of where mediocrity is being normalized. I don't care, Dr. Ken, as many times as you and I disagree, and we go at it, y'all. In that same instance, I would much rather, I appreciate working with people like Dr. Ken, because guess what? I don't like being the smartest person in the room. I don't like being the only person on the team that wants to give 100,000%. I know that's not a real numerical value, but just stay with me. I'd rather partner, co-host, collaborate with people or a person who has the same commitment to excellence, even if I disagree with their perspectives, even if I disagree with their opinions. We may not necessarily even have the same core values, but if we can respect each other and align on giving our end users, our consumers, i.e. the audience, a quality show. And see, that's what's wrong with society, because while one hand is doing this, and if you can see me, oh, be scared, your life is over, D&I is dead, you're gonna die now too. Versus, okay, what is it going to take for me to continue to thrive in this thing called life? For myself, for my family, for my network.
Yep.
And working with Dr. Ken, I don't have to worry about you complaining, you not showing up on time, you not being professional. And I definitely learn from you. So we got to get back to what we allow people to give us as part of our influence versus did you make any money off of sitting in that corner and watching the news and saying, oh my God, D&I is dead. My life is over. Versus, okay, it is what it is. So now what can I change? What can I influence so that, again, I'm continuing to be great. I'm working with great people. And I'm giving the listeners what they need and what they deserve. And that's the best. That's it, Dr. Ken. I'm done. That's my truth, unfiltered.
I appreciate that, and thank you for those wonderful accolades. Number two, when you're with me, you're not double negative. You're not the smartest person in the room, because I think it differs based on topic and information and experience, and so I think we go back and forth. Number two, you said you was done talking last hour, and you kept going.
No, I do that all the time. I'm done. I'm like, look, I'm like a Black Baptist church preacher. You know, like, I'm going to close, y'all. I'm going to close. I'm going to wrap it up. I know we got to go watch.
For the 13th time.
If you attend a Black Baptist church and you hear the pastor say, I'm about to close, you might as well get ready for a whole nother hour at least.
I think you should probably add the fact that if he's only been preaching a half hour and he says he's coming to close.
I don't know what Black Baptist church you went to. The one I grew up in, you go to church, Sunday school, church for 3 hours, revival. Don't even get me started.
You remember when you used to go to church in the morning? You go to Sunday school, and then you go to church, and then you went home at 8, and then you went back to church because there was always a 3:30 or 4 o'clock program.
Oh, wait a minute.
And then in Chicago, we would leave church and then go. Well, that's if I didn't eat in the church basement.
I was going to say, we had Sunday, in the cafeteria downstairs, we had,
And then after that, we would then go visit somebody else's church because at 6 o'clock, somebody had a broadcast. And then in Chicago, there was a Church of God in Christ pastor who had church at midnight on the radio. So when you're done, you got like a 12, 16-hour, like it was ingrained. But those are the different cultural things that you get to learn about people when people are different from you. And I think we've just, personally, I think DEI took us away from that. It took us away from experiencing the fact that I can appreciate the difference. All I'm asking is through affirmative action, level the playing field so we can appreciate everybody. And that includes us. It brings us up. And I want to start talking to people. And if you have a comment, call or hit us on the talking text line at 855-616-1620, the Citing Unlimited talking text line. What causes, I really want to dig into, not from a black perspective, what causes people to just utterly and totally dislike DEI?
I'm not going to be as refined as Dr. Ken. Dear white people, because we know y'all listening, call in. See, Dr. Ken, you're being all refined. I'm going to be unfiltered. Dear white people, please call in or text us at 855-616-1620. Now, on our, let me make sure I say it right, Citing Unlimited talking text line, Peter shares observation opinion. President Trump is clearly not, and he puts in parentheses, as he claims, standing up for the common man, but rather he is all about bullying the U.S. government at all levels to make whatever changes, and he put that in air quotes, he can get away with that primarily benefit himself and fellow loyal business tycoons. And then petulantly blame anyone who gets in his way for hindering his efforts to make America great again. Peter, thank you so much for sharing that observation. Now, Dr. Ken, Peter says that President Trump's administration, under his bullying leadership, is going to make whatever changes they can get away with that going to make him greater or his loyal business tycoons greater versus the actual country and the common man. Right. So
which is what most presidents do. That's what most presidents do. I'm not saying it's right. I don't agree with some of the things that President Trump is doing, like birthright. But in the end, it's the president's prerogative. How many of those 200 or so executive orders are going to stand? Who knows? He's testing the waters, right? So when people complain, for instance, this is the duplicity. This is the double-mindedness of people in America on both sides. You actually sat there and complained that President Trump pardoned the 1,500 or 1,600 people for the January 6th riot, which I don't think was true. Some people should have been pardoned. Some people should have went to jail. It shouldn't have been a blanket. Biden did the same thing multiple times before he left.
Should have gotten pardoned?
Huh?
You believe some people should have gotten pardoned?
Yes, some of them should have. Some of them were literally
a talk show.
Some of them weren't in the place. They were literally standing outside, and because they were on camera, they got prosecuted. So I think an understanding and following the rule of law, and many people disagree with the rule of law.
If they could have gotten inside, they would have gotten inside.
But we don't know. But I can't blame you for what you might have done when you didn't do it. So
spoken like a true law enforcement officer.
So I can only blame you for what you do. It's not bad being a law enforcement officer. I'm retired.
But
what we need to understand
should have been
But here's my point. Biden pardoned people of his 1,500 people. One of them was a judge from Luzerne County in Pennsylvania, Judge Chiaverillo. Judge Chiaverillo was known as the Kids for Cash judge. He actually got paid a finder's fee of well over $1.5 million, $2 million to build a new county jail, a new county detention facility, made it private, and then every kid that pretty much came to his court, he sent there so his buddy could get paid. To the point,
we weren't talking about President Biden. We were talking about President Trump.
That's what I'm saying. Where several kids died. What I'm trying to say is that every president has the power to do what they do. But if we're going to complain about one doing it, we need to complain about everybody. We can't make a blanket statement about everybody that was at January 6th the same way we can make a blanket statement about black people when crime is committed. Not every black person is a criminal. They might have been there, but that doesn't make it criminal. All I'm saying is that
every last one of them people,
that's
Dr.
your opinion,
Ken,
and I can
with
appreciate that, but I disagree. I think that every individual should be thought of as it relates to what they did and prosecuted for what they did.
No, you guys go ahead. I'm just going to stand out here because I don't want to break the law.
You can say it, but the video says otherwise.
And watch. So you guys go ahead.
But the video says otherwise. Now, this is a perfect example that people don't understand that
really, Dr.
Denise and I differ, but for different reasons, but we still understand the magnitude of what January 6th did, and it never should have happened.
You guys want some coffee?
But,
you guys want
but that's how you do me when you disagree.
Anybody want
look, that's how she do me. You know what? We're going to break.
You guys good?
Citing Unlimited, talking to 616-120. Listen.
Are you kidding me, Dr.
We
Ken?
love each other. Hey, I'm just trying to play the middle guy. That's all.
No, you did not compare.
Play the middle guy. I can
the
compare
stereotypes against black people
to the
1,600 people that showed up on Capitol Hill.
Actually, I compare Biden's 1,500 to the 1,600 at the Capitol. But
we're not talking about Biden.
But no, I am. See, I can do that. I can do that. Can't I?
You can do.
When we come back, I'm going to ask permission from Denise Thomas on what I can talk about.
That's going to get you far in life.
I know that's right. You're listening to Truth Unfiltered on TMJ.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is here for you, bringing you the latest headlines with John McCure.
Wanted to get you some information on the shooting suspect in that United Healthcare CEO shooting that took place in New York.
And diving into the details with Julia Fellow.
Charged with murder as an act of terrorism. Kind of bizarre when I saw that.
Tune in to Wisconsin's afternoon news, where your day's story unfolds. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. Only here on WTMJ.
You're right, and I'll agree. It does sound too good to be true. But offering you affordable treatment that alleviates pain, which really does work, that we've seen in most cases insurance paid for in full, is a definite reality. It's pain relief, really. And these are FDA-approved treatments. They're safe and proven to reduce inflammation and alleviate pain. Yeah, you'll have to get a couple of shots, and I know that can scare people. But the needle is extremely small. And after giving shots like this hundreds of thousands of times, you'll see we make it very easy. You're going to feel the relief that our powerful pain relief agents give you. They're pain relief drugs that solve pain problems. And the way I feel is that Rejuvenix should be the first stop for anyone living with pain in shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees. At $65 per joint per injection, it's probably the most affordable pain relief option available that actually works.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex Google reviews will tell you more.
If you want to add a unique and stunning feature to your home, decorative art glass can be used in a variety of ways to really increase its wow factor. Think of adding a wonderful work of stained glass art to some of your exterior windows, foyer, or front door entry. We can make sure the measurements fit spot on, and you don't even have to replace the glass. You can just add the art glass over the top. It will add some real ambiance that changes as the sun moves throughout the day. And a paint of protection too, which never hurts. Our decorative glass artists are delightful to work with, and they just might give you some ideas that you love, but never even thought of. There's so much of the same out there. Adding a customized work of stained glass art to one or more of your home's windows can really set it apart. This is Stacy Sinks with Les's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Les's Glass. Les's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lesglassservice.com.
Welcome back to The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
You guys, do you need anything? I know you guys are about to go and attack the Capitol, but I'm just here to watch and support.
210 said, be careful, Dr. Ken. She's going to cancel you. I think she already did.
Hey, you guys need Uber Eats? Anybody hungry before you guys go in there and
Ain't nobody
kill
saying
Pelosi
that.
and Pence?
I'm not saying that. And I'm saying January 6th was wrong. But if we're going to prosecute people, I don't think it should be a group prosecution.
Let me just say this really quick. The person who said, Dr. Ken, be careful, she's going to cancel you. I don't cancel people. I'm 48. I don't have the power or authority to cancel anybody. So, yes, I will disagree with Dr. Ken as much as I love and respect him. However, I am in no position to cancel anyone. I'm not part of that culture. So,
and I can push all the buttons.
Whether you were joking or not, I don't cancel people.
855-616-1620, Citing Unlimited, WTMJ Talk and Text Line. Al, you are on Truth Unfiltered.
Oh, we got Al. My dear Al.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up?
Al, you just love me so much. You're going to come wherever I go, don't you? Boy, I tell you.
Just what I like you, Denise. You say what's on your mind. I like that.
Well, thank you, Al. I like
and I
you
like
too.
talk radio. I like conversation. I like hearing what other people have to say, believe it or not. The question about what makes people crazy about the DEI, I think I can only answer for myself, you know, being in corporate America and they send you to the courses. I was trying to think back to the first time I encountered a DEI class, and that was maybe 20 years ago. It was at the big insurance company downtown.
Well, remember, they didn't call it DEI 20 years ago.
They call it diversity.
Right.
They call it diversity training. So I remember the class was led by a woman. I assume she was from the LGBT community, and she was a bit masculine. And I remember her sitting there with her legs wide apart. And I don't know why that is the burning impression of my mind, but I think we all know when we go in the workplace that we need to get along and treat people courteously. I think it's kind of felt a affront to assume that everybody is racist. Everyone has a bias, regardless of whether you admit it or not. You have a bias, but I think it's a preachiness that people don't appreciate and singling people out by their physical characteristics and kind of making that the focus rather than let's just treat everyone courteously. I have a friend from the Biden administration that I was discussing this with over the last day, and he was mad because they're taking away the DEI. He's like, well, DEI, you know, sends out people from the government to recruit at like the black colleges to get people into careers that they might not have considered. But after 60 years, don't we have enough minorities in management, federal government, that they could make wise decisions about diversifying the hires? And what happened to
what are you basing when you say Al? When you say because, I love, when you say these things, because it's very thought provoking. When you say enough, what does that mean? Like, what is enough? Is there a numerical value that's associated with we have enough people of color? Because, I don't use the word minority, Al. I don't use that.
Yeah.
That's not part of my vernacular. So what's enough?
Yeah. So I think back when I was hired at the big insurance company, and the person that interviewed me was a female, and she was African American. And I think there was another female that was white. And I got selected as a candidate. And I remember when I was looking for people, or I would refer people, I referred other minorities, African Americans, to the company, and they got hired. But I refer them not just because of their skin color, because they were really good at what they did, and they impressed me from other jobs that I had worked with them at. And I think after 60 years in the federal government, we should have enough minorities placed throughout the organizations, different departments, that when they go out and recruit, that they are looking and selecting diverse candidates and based on their qualifications. And do you need a contracted DEI firm to send someone to a university to recruit for the FBI or for the IRS? Why aren't those managers in their department having budgets that fly down to the universities and participate in career fairs?
Well, Al, I think, and again, I'm going to keep it real with you because you didn't answer my question, but that's okay because I know that's what you and I do.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
How do you qualify or how do you measure enough? When you say, I think there's enough minorities, and again, I don't use that word, I'm using yours. But my thing is this, Al, it's not about checking a box. It's not about quantifying, because that's where I do personally as a black woman. I don't ever want somebody to say, well, we only hired you, Denise, because you're a black woman. You're a double win. Right. And I've heard that many times in my career. I've heard that. And I want to be clear to people who are anti-DE&I because they think that people of color, or especially black people, because there's a huge stereotype, Al, even in 2025, that black people are lazy. I still don't understand how a whole race of enslaved people that built a country with no compensation could be considered lazy, but that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is this. It's not about checking a box or saying that, hey, we got to have this many. And that's how DE&I has been socialized and even marketed, which I get for a lot of people, including black people. That's not what we're asking. That's not what we're demanding. That's not what we're expecting. We're expecting that if you think that I am the most qualified, I know we got to go to break. If you feel that I'm the most qualified for this position, based on everything on my CV, my resume, etc., hire me. But then when I get in the room, don't allow me to feel as though I don't belong. That's where the inclusion piece came into play.
Right.
And the equity piece, I'll talk about when we come back from break. Because again, people are associating DE&I with discrimination when DE&I is about just being a normal human being, which I think all of us ultimately want to demonstrate. We'll be back.
I haven't had anything to eat for days, and being hungry hurts.
Going without oil changes can destroy your engine, but it doesn't compare to the effect of going without food. That's why the Automobile Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee is determined to make sure no one goes to bed hungry. Through March 1st, they'll donate $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 14 years, Adam has donated over $890,000, providing more than 2.6 million meals to people across southeast Wisconsin, the majority being children and seniors. And with today's ongoing challenges, the need is greater than ever. So help the hungry while helping your vehicle. Get your oil changed by Adam Dealer Factory Trained Techs at a price as low or lower than independent shops. Visit an Adam member dealer near you.
For a list of participating dealers, visit adamm.com.
Ready to tackle your home improvement project this winter? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. As a 5-time President's Club Award winner, Exterior Pros is not playing around. With flexible financing, it's never been easier to invest in your home without breaking the bank. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation today.
Winning in the NFL comes down to the basics, blocking and tackling. In retirement, protection and income are the keys to success. Simply put, if you're nearing or in retirement, you can't afford a stock market crash. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons. Having played on winning teams with the Steelers and Falcons, studying game film was a key to success. Now I'm a best-selling author and star in a new groundbreaking documentary film called The Retirement Deception. It unveils how the Wall Street machine has been deceiving us for decades and proves you don't need to risk your nest egg in the market to have the retirement you deserve. This film shows you exactly how to protect your retirement from stock market drops and produce more income than you thought possible. I want you to watch this film for free. Call today for your free copy of The Retirement Deception. I think you would agree 30 to 40 years of saving for retirement is at least worth a phone call to watch this film and see how you can improve your retirement. Call today to speak with an all-pro retirement specialist to get your free copy of The Retirement Deception. Call 844-763-2837. That's 844-763-2837. MitchLyonsWealth.com. Your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
This message is sponsored by WisCaregiver.com. Now is the time to start a meaningful career as a caregiver. Make a real difference in people's lives. WisCaregiver.com gives you 2 great options for free. Train for the in-demand caregiver workforce as a CDCP, Certified Direct Care Professional, or become a CNA, Certified Nurse Aide. All training is free. Plus, you can earn a $500 bonus. Learn more. Visit WisCaregiver.com.
This is The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
You're listening to us on 101.7 The Truth and 620 WTMJ. By the way, the Siding Unlimited TMJ talk and text line is 855-616-1620. 414-828 said, I went to school in the 1990s with black kids who were bused into my school in Wauwatosa via the Chapter 220 program. The vast majority of these kids excelled in school. I also made friends that I probably would never have met without that program. There is value in diversity programs. That's true. But what it also is what? All things being equal. However, how did the white kids do? Did the majority of them excel? Yes. And so what it shows is that we can hold our own when we're given the resources and the instruction and things like that. And that's all we ask for. That's all we want. That is what affirmative action is about. Leveling the playing field that caused us not to be able to win, not to be able to get the job, not to be able to be qualified by some person who decided in their brain that I'm the majority and so I'm the only one, I'm automatically smarter. But when you create a program that makes people think in the back of their mind, and yes, I'm talking about whites, well, we hired Denise, but did she get hired because she's black or is she a good leader? Well, that's a problem with the person. That is a problem with the person, and that's something that affirmative action should get rid of. And I don't know, well, can you really change a person's heart? I don't think so.
Let me just clarify. And as much as I appreciate the listener's intention of saying that he benefited as a human being of having exposure and experiences and healthy relationships with black students, it was not as a result of the DE&I program. Okay, so back in, let me just give us a quick history lesson, American history lesson. On May 17th, 1954, the Brown versus Board of Education outcome forced desegregation in schools, okay? On September 7th of 1971, a man by the name of Taylor Creates ordered the busing system for desegregation after the Brown versus Board of Education forced desegregation in schools. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is that because, again, this is what we have to understand. There is a distinct difference between DE&I programs and initiatives versus laws that were put into place as a result of cases like Brown versus Board and the Civil Rights Act. Programs and laws are two different things. Now, you benefited, which I appreciate. You publicly have let us know that there is power in embracing difference. That is a part of DE&I, because diversity, you can Google the definition, you can look it up, however you choose to understand what a word means. Diversity is simply difference. The inclusion is what you experience. You experience because of the busing system for desegregation. You were able to foster a relationship with someone who was different from you, both racially, both from a neighborhood or socioeconomic standpoint, which to your experience made you a better person. The resistance that we are experiencing with DE&I is because, this is my opinion. I always want to clarify, this is my opinion.
Right.
This is not a fact. But the reason why there's so much resistance with DE&I is because it was presented in a way that was a reaction to George Floyd when the world was in a very vulnerable position. The importance of embracing difference, the importance of having representation in the workplace, in the schools, in all public facilities. It is important, even growing up, like inviting people that are different from you that you appreciate or you respect to your home for dinner. That's inclusion. So the definitions of the words, it's not a bad thing. It's something that's very helpful. Because if I am running a business where my consumer base, is different from me, but yet the C-suite decision makers don't look like the people that are buying my product, that's a problem. I'm coughing, so I'll be quiet, Dr. Ken. Maybe that's my sign to be quiet.
Well,
but I had to clarify that.
Well, and I think one of the things we tend to forget is one of the mishaps we had out of Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas, was that particular group of Supreme Court folks, justices, added that phrase "with all deliberate speed." All the woman wanted were the same books that was in the white school at the black schools. They took that phrase, all deliberate speed, and said, oh, well, let's speed this up then. They closed all the black schools, made all the black principals, and I'm generalizing, made all the black principals and teachers janitors because they couldn't teach in white schools, hired one or two of them and said, see, we hired them, and ended up decimating black schools in the South. So this idea of a person saying the way to fix this is not to make their schools better and give them the resources they deserve. It's to close them and send them to our schools because, our schools are just better just because of the fact that they're predominantly white schools. That has permeated our society to today. So while I can appreciate 414-828, I have an issue with the fact that we had a program in Wisconsin, Chapter 220, that in their brain, we got to ship kids to a suburban schools because, the city schools aren't good enough. Well, they were good enough in Chicago. They were good enough for me. They were good enough in Evansville, Indiana. They were good enough. So at some point.
No, they weren't in Evansville.
Okay, I was just trying to be nice. So, excuse me, I was just trying to be inclusive. So, so one of the issues is this assumption that white is right and black is wrong. And I have an issue with that. I have a major, that's a trigger for me. And I'm not a trigger guy, but that's a trigger for me to make the assumption, well, this is right. Like this is the way it should be. Why? Why can't there be some diversity in thought, in spirit, in what you do, in what you say? Like it's just bizarre to me. If
you disagree with me, then I'll cancel you. That's where we are right now in society. If you disagree, I'm going to cancel you. And oh, by the way, Dr. Ken, versus me actually looking in the mirror and holding myself accountable to being qualified.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put all my time and energy on focusing on why you are trying to take away a platform where I make commercials.
Like
How dare you?
We're going to die on the altar of TikTok? Wow.
Yeah. Again, I'm okay with TikTok being a complimentary platform to growing your business, or for those that use it to learn about. I'm not on TikTok. I mean, my business is on TikTok, but I'm not like as a person on it. And I hear my friends say, "Oh, I go to TikTok to get some good recipes." I love that.
Right.
But when I hear legislators standing on the hills of Capitol Hill, on the rotunda of Capitol Hill saying, "I have citizens in my district that will lose their lives if TikTok is banned," I'm like, say what? Say what?
Hey.
That's the problem now.
Hey.
That is the problem now. Dr. Ken and I have talked about, again, cybersecurity. We've talked about trade positions. You don't even have to go to college for 4 years. You don't have to go to college for 2 years. You can get a certification, HVAC, plumbing, mechanic, electrician, and make, like day one,
a couple of $200,000. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
But we're too focused on TikTok being banned. And then again, being a person who embraces difference, being someone who wants everyone that is around them to feel included, and then making sure that people have access and that you meet people where they are. That is all part of being human being.
Yep.
But what we did was we packaged it and we used the wrong language. And I'm saying we, as people who are advocates for humanity, and a certain demographic got nervous.
Right.
Because they felt their power was going to be taken away.
And that's what
they
I want to
voted
talk
for
about.
somebody.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
And they voted for somebody, yeah.
Why are people so upset? If somebody can tell me why are people so upset about DEI? Like what is it actually? Like if you had to pick one thing, Siding Unlimited, talking text line 855-616-1620. If you can pick one thing as to why you don't like DEI, I'd love to hear that. Truth Unfiltered, Denise Thomas, Dr. Ken Harris. We'll be back.
The only place to get this.
Every twist and turn you could possibly dream of is playing out tonight. Are you kidding me?
With some of this.
We are the Bucks, Justin. You're a member of the team now. Okay. Well, I have the tattoo on my arm, so I kind of am.
Get it all on Bucks Talk, your all-encompassing Milwaukee Bucks postgame show with Justin Garcia and Brandon Snide. Only heard here on the home of the Bucks, WTMJ.
It's like being trapped in a cage. And I know, that sounds dramatic, but your breathing triangle problem has got you trapped. And once you're freed, you're going to be able to live the life that you're missing out on. Now, this can simply mean experiencing the true pleasure of breathing freely. It will mean better sleep and more energy. And the worry of this problem any more affecting your life is going to be gone. Because in almost every case, when Advent has solved a breathing triangle problem, it's a one and done. Because we're not in the business of delivering Band-Aids. We want to fix your nasal breathing problem for good. We don't want you to be a lifelong patient. We want you to be our next success story.
Isn't it time you break free from that cage? Take the next step. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
So it's about time you spruced up your home. Nothing major. You're not looking to spend a ton, but you are looking for something that'll give your quarters a little upgrade. You know, there are a lot of things you can do with glass. Simply beveling your mirrors can do wonders. You can mill out your wood cabinet doors and replace the center with attractive glass inserts, or customize them with unique handcrafted artistry, or maybe a theme. You could even install a new glass shower door and add some real appeal to your bathroom. They're all pretty affordable home improvements. And Les's Glass Service has been helping homeowners like you for just about longer than anyone in town. You probably don't realize how affordably we can help you reach your home's full potential. But we do, and we can show you countless options. So if it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
You're listening to The Truth Unfiltered
with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
As we close out these last few minutes, I want to ask, what is it? We've been talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion from multiple points of view. I've been talking about 2 minutes, and Denise has been talking about 957,000 hours. And
Amen.
So we want to really, ask in these last few minutes we have left. We have about 9 minutes left. What is it about DEI that gets under your craw? Like, what is it about DEI that makes people just get upset, get mad, lose it? Like, what exactly? What is it? Like, I don't know. Like, you think there's you think we're getting a quota because quotas are illegal. The part of affirmative action that got overturned, and I tried to explain to people when it happened at Harvard, they did not overturn, and Texas and Michigan, they did not overturn affirmative action. They overturned the quota that they used to utilize affirmative action. Affirmative action didn't go away. Like, it's not going away. It's an act. It ain't going to, it's in the federal statute. It's not going away. What we miss is I can't go, okay, so you're 14% of the population, so we're going to have 14 people. Why? Why can't we have 50 out of 100 if you're qualified? But somewhere, affirmative action is supposed to fix the piece that tells people that they are in that job if they're black or white because of affirmative action. Well, you can't make that generalization because affirmative action made all things being equal, and we all took the same, exam and got the same questions and did the same interview and got the job. So don't be mad. But what are you missing? I don't know. No. As a friend of mine said today, I'm just confused.
It's a lot. There's a lot that we are processing this week in terms of headlines, news headlines. And I just want to say this before we wrap up, Dr. Ken. These are, I guess, my closing thoughts, my informal closing thoughts. However you feel, however you voted, at the end of the day, I want us to get back to, and I hope that we all consider this as human beings, getting back to appreciating difference.
Yep.
I feel like we're becoming a society where if you don't look like me, if you don't think like me, if you're just not like me, then there's something wrong with you, or I fear you, or I just don't want to understand. And I am a living, breathing example or testimony to the power, even when I was the only one in the room. And I've been in way more rooms than not where I've been the only one. And versus me, being combative or rejecting, I embraced it because it helped me as a person. I have friends from all walks of life. I have colleagues, and I do publicly want to thank and acknowledge the clients that support and believe in my business, even those that are predominantly white. And they say things like, Denise, we may not have a formal DE&I initiative or program. However, we still believe in the power of inclusivity and in giving the autonomy to our employees to be innovative, critical thinkers, while at the same time embracing their identity. That is what I hope that we will continue to consider as we try to make significant positive impacts and progressions in this country and in this world. Again, it's not about a label. It's not about 3 letters. It's about the power of humanity and embracing and appreciating people that are different from you, that have different views, but have the same fundamental desires that you have. And that is to be great. And that is to thrive and to be able to have a productive and abundant life. That's my closing.
And we also have the same human frailties and the same human fears, the joys of family, the joys of children, the joys of friends. And it's either going to be applicable to everybody or it's not going to be applicable to anybody. So if you want the right to live where you live, if you want the right to get a good, decent job, to get a good education, it's got to be for everybody. And that's what should make America great, is the inclusivity. And when you feel like you're not being included, this is why you get the pushback. When you feel like people are fighting because they're losing something that they never really possessed anyway, then we as in black people, no, let me speak for me. I get confused when you say or assume that we're just not good enough. But yet we have places like the football, basketball, baseball, where there's really no affirmative action. Well, no, technically there is affirmative action. All things being equal, everything became unjust. If you're a good player, you get to play. Now we have some black coaches, black quarterbacks, right? There had to be a concerted effort to say, we're going to go with the best. We're not going to assume or say our leader, the quarterback, has to be white. They just have to be good. And that's all we ask for. Now, if they can do that now, the problem with that is that the good old boys club called owners won't let us in. So then what do? Start your own league, do your own, right? So sometimes it comes down to, I want to have access the same way you do. I want to have education the same way you do. I don't want yours. I'll build mine. But I don't want yours. I just want to be able to. And I don't want to hand out. And I don't want to hand out. I want to earn it because then I get to keep it. And when I earn it and I keep it, I'm kind of okay with that. So, late breaking news before we break. Denise Thomas, the Super Bowl in 2 weeks will be with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hey, Jalen Hurts, call me boo.
And
your fine self.
And the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wait a minute. What? Oh, yeah, that's right.
They just played. They just won. So those of you that have it on, I probably should have did one of those. Well, I'm gonna bust your bubbles. I'm gonna say the winner, but too late. So the Chiefs and the Eagles. So at least we got the Midwest and the East Coast. If it was if it was Washington and the Eagles, I would have went somewhere and, painted my basement and watched the paint dry. Because I think it'll be. And
also breaking news, I'm about to go make a salmon with avocado and cilantro salad. Just in case you were wondering, I'm so excited.
Can I make a public declaration?
And I found the recipe on New York Times, not TikTok. But yes.
Can I make?
There is life outside of TikTok.
Can I make a public declaration?
Please.
I have never tasted avocado. What's the other green stuff? Is that it? Avocado?
Guacamole?
Guacamole. I've never tasted guacamole.
I can't even say it right.
Everybody I know, my God, it's so good. I've never tasted it.
It is. It's life changing, but I get it.
I can't do green. That light green. It looks like throw up.
It's healthy for you as well. Avocado is.
I'm not
guacamole is where you start getting all the fat stuff, but avocado just straight up, very healthy.
I'm not gonna find that out.
Okay. Well, I'm about to go eat my salmon.
Now
with
salmon,
avocado and cilantro.
Now salmon, some cilantro with some buttered salt and pepper on some asparagus on the side.
No butter, no salt, no pepper.
Okay, that's you.
That's
you.
Not healthy.
No, that's you. It is.
I'm not adding saturated fat to my salad.
You're not. I am. See, we just differ.
Well, you're in great shape, Dr. Ken. You can afford to. I'm just.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get there.
I got a few years on you. You know, metabolism slows down a bit.
It's going to be 67 degrees in Dallas on Friday. So, sun's out, guns out. I got to be ready.
You got guns? Anyway.
I do.
Thanks for listening. I guess this is our inaugural show on 620. Our second week on 101.7 The Truth. So we'll see you in about a week.
Have a great week, y'all. We love you.
Hit us on X and everywhere on 620 WTMJ on 101.7 The Truth. Hey, God bless. Take care. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you, Dr. Ken. Love you. Love y'all. Embrace difference.
All right.
Embrace
Thank
difference.
you, Evan. Make your week count.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here, asking you to join me in October as my wife and I explore